my loves, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video, we're going to be talking about how to manifest more effortlessly. So when it comes to creating your dream life and taking action towards it, how do we make it more effortless? Because I feel like a lot of us get stuck when we try to take action towards something that we really want, but we're finding that there's a lot of resistance to that and that we are stuck in our old habits, stuck in our old ways, and then it's hard for us to make change. So we're going to be talking today about how to make manifestation more effortless and how to step into your dream self and your dream life more effortlessly. So grab a cup of tea, coffee, sit down with me, and let's chat about how to manifest more effortlessly. So one of the first things that I want to talk about is your identity. However you currently see yourself is how you're going to take action. And it's very difficult for us as human beings to act out of accordance to how we currently see ourselves, our current identity. So if you currently see yourself as someone who has a 9-to-5 job and you like to come home and you like to just order DoorDash and you like to watch TV, but let's say that you have this desire, this burning desire to own your own business and to eat really healthy and buy all the healthy groceries and shift your life and change your life. Let's say that that is your desire. It's going to be very difficult for you to act in accordance to that desire if your current identity and your current view of yourself is your 9-to-5 job and ordering DoorDash and watching TV and doing all those things. If you currently see yourself in that light and in that way, and that's how you identify, it's going to be very difficult for you to take action towards your dream life and towards your dream self and towards all those new desires if you do not identify as those new desires and as that new self. It's always very difficult for us to act out of accordance with our current identity. And one of the most common misconceptions is that we cannot change our identity. A lot of us see identity as something that's permanent, something that we're born with, but it's actually not. Identity is something that is very changeable, and you can shift it to anything. You can shift your identity to match your dream life, to match your dream self, and you're gonna notice that that's the point where it becomes very easy and natural for you to take action that's in alignment with that dream life and with that dream self. So if you shift your identity to all of a sudden being someone who's super healthy, and you shift your identity to being a business owner who maybe currently has a 9-to-5 job, but you first and foremost identify as that business owner, all of a sudden it's gonna be very easy for you to take action that's in accordance with that identity. You're gonna come home and you're gonna think, oh, first and foremost, I'm a business owner, so let me sit down, get my laptop out, and start planning my business and doing all the actions to create a successful business. And let me also go to the gym and I'm gonna buy the healthiest groceries because I identify as a super healthy person who also goes to the gym. One of the most common things that I see is that when people still see themselves as the old version of themselves who just wants something else, it's very difficult for them to take action towards those desires because they don't see themselves as that dream self. They don't see themselves as the person who could have all of those different things. So the most core foundational thing, if you want to make manifestation more effortless, is to shift how you see yourself, to shift your identity. That is the first and foremost, most powerful thing that you can do to create more effortless manifestation. And the biggest question here is, okay, how do I shift my identity? How do I make my identity in alignment with what I want? And one of the first things is to begin defining what actions or things that you need to change in your life. So is there certain actions that would make you more in alignment with your dream self, such as going to the gym or eating healthy, only buying healthy groceries, or working on that business idea, writing that book, painting, or whatever it is that's in alignment with what you desire, right? I'm just throwing out arbitrary examples that you may or may not resonate with, but this is where it gets personal to you. You need to decide and define what actions is your dream self doing? What actions are gonna align you to your biggest goals and biggest desires? What do you need to start doing? If you wanna start traveling, is there a certain amount of money that you need to start saving? Or if you wanna be like a travel influencer or something, maybe we need to start posting on social media or saving up money for a trip so that we can get content, so that we can start posting and all of that. We need to make a plan of what action we need to take and what we need to begin doing. And then after we define this action, we need to start acting in accordance to those things, even if there's resistance at first. Because as you start shifting your identity, you're most likely gonna run into a little bit of resistance because now your old identity is being challenged in a new way. It's being broken. So of course you're gonna feel a bit bit of resistance when it comes to doing those new actions and acting as the new identity, the new version of you, you're going to inevitably feel a little bit of resistance, because what's happening in this moment is you're building a new brain, basically. So your old brain has its current neural pathways, and neural pathways are essentially these pathways in the brain that are built based on your current habits, your current actions, your current way of thinking. We get all these different neural pathways, and the more that we do an action, or the more commonly that we think a thought, those neural pathways get stronger. You can see it almost as a dirt road. The more that you drive down that dirt road, the more defined that path is going to become. However, the less you drive down that dirt road, it's likely going to be overtaken by grass and get erased over time. So what you need to do at this point is to stop doing the old actions that no longer resonate with your new identity, and start doing the ones that do enhance and match that new identity and the new self that you really want to be. And the more often that you do those new actions, the stronger you're going to build these new pathways, these new neural networks in your brain. You're essentially building a new brain that's going to reflect this new identity. And over time, it'll become your new habitual state. It'll become your new normal. It'll become your new autopilot. You won't even have to force yourself to eat healthy or go to the gym or work on that business or do that thing, because it's going to be who you are. So you have to build a new self. And the only way to do that is to start doing those actions that are in alignment with that new self, and to discontinue the old actions and the old way of thinking that's in alignment with your old self. This is where we do the switch. It's difficult at first. However, the more often that you do it, it becomes effortless, it becomes subconscious, and at that point, it's your new autopilot state, it's your new normal, and it's at this point that manifestation starts becoming effortless, because now it'll be almost effortless for you to take those actions that are going to build that new dream life, that are going to build that new dream self, but it needs to become your new habitual state. And this is where a lot of people get stuck, and where they just revert to their old self, because they think, oh, this is really hard. I'm noticing a lot of resistance when I try to do this new thing. I'm feeling all this resistance come up. It's very difficult, and it just feels easier for me to sit back and be my old self and to do those old actions. But then we get to this point where we're like, okay, but nothing's changing in my life. Nothing's happening. I'm not building the life that I really want. So you have to get through that big resistance point, and you have to continue those actions that are building that new dream self, even though it's hard at first. It's just like going to the gym, and if you're trying to like lift 10, 15 pound weights for the first time, and you're like, oh, that's really hard. But the more consistent that you are with it, consistency is key. All of a sudden those weights, your muscles are just gonna build, and you're like, oh wait, those are super easy. Let me go to like the 20s or the 25s, and then you're gonna be lifting those, and then eventually those are gonna become easy too. So it's about taking steps in that direction. And it's not about doing things that are way too hard at first. It's not like you need to overly push yourself. Doing a little bit at a time is what's best, just like going to the gym. I know I use that example a lot, but it's such a perfect example. So just like lifting those weights again, if it's very difficult for us to lift a 60-pound weight, which is probably going to be very difficult at first, it's not like we dive right in, right? We pick up one small thing at a time. We pick up the 10 pounds, the 15 pounds, and we work our way up. So how can you build a new plan, build a new self where you're taking little steps at a time, getting used to them and moving in that direction? This is where you're going to create effortless manifestation. And I promise you, if you continue down this path of becoming the new self and working through those resistances and continuing through it anyway, it will become effortless. It will become your new habitual state. You're now creating a new habit, but it takes time before that habit becomes a habit. And another reason why identity is so important when it comes to manifesting and creating effortless manifestation is because identity encompasses all three principles of manifesting. And those three principles are thoughts, emotions, and actions. Those are the three things that need to be in alignment for you to manifest anything. Your thoughts need to be in alignment, your emotions need to be in alignment, and your actions need to be in alignment. It's not saying that they need to be perfect. However, they do need to be in alignment with what you desire in order for you to manifest something. So what identity does is when you shift your identity and you start seeing yourself as your dream self, and that's your first and foremost identity, that's when all of a sudden your thoughts and your emotions and your actions are going to become in alignment with your dreams and desires. So for example, let's use the example that you currently have a 9-to-5 job, but let's say you really want to be an independent artist and you want to have your own company, you get to travel and do all of these different things, but currently you have this 9-to-5 job that's maybe keeping you a little bit stuck. What you would do here is, instead of identifying as somebody who has a 9-to-5 job who really wants to be this traveling artist, instead you would first and foremost see yourself as a traveling artist who currently has a 9-to-5 job, because maybe we can't leave the 9-to-5 job quite yet because it supports us, but we can shift these small little perspectives in our identity and it'll shift the way you think and the way you feel and the way you take action. So now you're seeing yourself as this independent artist, but they currently just have a 9-to-5 job. So this is your new identity. How is this going to change the way you take action? All of a sudden your action is going to shift, because if you're first and foremost that independent artist and you come home at the end of the day, you're gonna have so much more energy to put towards your dream life, towards creating that business, because you first and foremost see yourself as that independent artist. Therefore, when friends call you and they say, hey, do you want to go out on the weekend? You're like, no, because I'm an independent artist and this is my time to be working on my craft, because I'm first and foremost that. Right? So of course you could apply this in any way, shape, or form to any aspect of life. Let's say that you just want to be the most incredible husband or wife. You want to be more about your family. If you identify in that new way, it's going to shift the way you think, it's going to shift the way you feel, and it's going to shift the way you take action. Your identity affects those 3 principles at the core level of your identity. And when you have the ability to affect all of those 3 different things, you will shift your reality faster than you think. And identity is the fastest way to affect all of those 3 principles. Because as you shift your identity, of course, you are going to think different, you are going to feel different, and you are going to act different because you have a new identity. So one of the ways of shifting identity that we already talked about is taking action and being consistent with taking action towards building that new identity and continuing to take action that's in alignment with that new identity until it becomes a habit. But there's also a multitude of other ways to also enhance shifting your identity and making it faster and quicker. One of the other methods is meditation. And some people find a lot of resistance to meditation because meditation is something that some people find a little bit difficult. However, when you do a guided meditation, a lot of the times people have an easier time doing a guided meditation because it really focuses your thoughts on what you're meant to be thinking during that meditation, which really helps enhance the experience and keeps the mind from wandering off. However, with more practice, it's just like building a muscle. You're just going to get better and better at meditating the more that you do it. But there are specific meditations that help you shift your reality, and they do it through shifting your identity. So I have one here on YouTube. I'll have it linked down below. It is one of my most popular meditations. It is so powerful for shifting your reality because it helps you shift your identity. It helps you shift the way you see yourself by walking you through a new life. And through experiencing that new life through meditation, it really helps sink in these new habits, and it really helps rewire your mind so that becoming this new identity feels more natural, feels more easy. And meditation also really helps us tap into our subconscious mind, and our subconscious mind is where all of our habits and patterns come from. So your current identity is a subconscious habit for you right now. That's because all those aspects of yourself are currently wired in your subconscious mind. But when you meditate, it puts you in a really low brainwave state, which helps you tap into the subconscious mind and helps you rewire your mind faster. So when you do a meditation for shifting your identity, you'd be surprised how fast you can shift your identity with this practice and how fast you can manifest a new reality and get out of resistance with the practice of meditating. So one of the things that I suggest is right when you wake up in the morning, listening to a meditation for shifting your reality or shifting your identity, and it will help you so much with shifting into the new version of yourself, and it'll help you get rid of resistance so much faster, and it will help you manifest things so much faster. Again, I'll have my meditation link down below that you can check out. It's free here on YouTube and you can listen to it whenever you want, but I highly recommend listening to it every morning, and that way you can really tap into that new identity the first moment that you wake up. You can also listen to it before you go to bed, and that also really helps rewire your subconscious, but I'd say the most important time to listen to it is in the morning, and if you can do that for 30 days straight, I promise you will shift your reality faster than you think. Another thing that I like to do whenever I'm trying to make a big identity shift for myself is I like to have a little keepsake reminder that's with me that reminds me of my new self that I'm creating. So I either use a crystal or I wear a piece of jewelry, and when I look at that jewelry, it reminds me of the new self that I am becoming. And what I like to do at first to really create this strong connection in my mind to that particular stone or to that piece of jewelry is I like to meditate with that piece of jewelry. So for example, I would take like a bracelet and I would charge it with my intention with that new identity. So I'd meditate with it and I would imagine that this bracelet, every time I look at it, is going to remind me of who I'm becoming, what my dream self is, the new identity that I'm shifting into. And whenever I look at that bracelet, after having done that practice, it immediately just reminds me of who I'm becoming and what my intention was and what that new identity is. And every single time that I look at it throughout the day, it's like, oh yeah, I'm that new self. What does that new self act like? What would that new self be feeling like? What actions would I be taking as this new self? And it really helps me shift and to remember to step into that new version of myself more often, which really helps create a new habit much faster, because the more often you practice something, the more consistent you are at creating these shifts and doing these small little things is going to be what creates the biggest impact in shifting your identity and making manifestation so much more effortless, because you are shifting yourself at the core level and making a new habitual pattern, and that new habitual pattern is going to be what creates your dream reality much more effortlessly. Because right when you change at that identity level, taking action towards your dreams and doing that action is going to be natural. You won't even have to think about it. Your body and your mind is just wired to act in accordance to that dream or desire, which gets you there so much faster. So those are all the different things I like to do. First and foremost, it's about taking action as that new self. What would that new self be doing? Shifting your view of yourself at the identity level, how you identify. Who are you? This is about identifying who is your dream self. What would that dream self be doing? And you need to first and foremost put that as your top priority and begin taking action that's in alignment with that new identity until it becomes your new habitual state. The second thing that you can do is, again, meditate. Meditating is so powerful in creating a new habit and making a new habit stick much faster. And then the third thing is having a little stone or a little keepsake that you can either put in your pocket, put in your purse, or wear it. I highly recommend wearing it because you're going to look at it more often. You're going to see it much more often, and you can charge that item with your intention so that whenever you see it, whenever you look at it, it's like, whoo, it's that quick little reminder of who you are now and who you're meant to be. And it's that quick little reminder that is like, hey, let me check in with myself. Am I acting in accordance with my new dream identity, or is there something I can change right now? Maybe it's about shifting your thoughts because maybe you're stuck in a spiral loop and maybe you have a habit of being really hard on yourself, and maybe looking at that bracelet or that item is like a quick reminder of, no, my dream self would not be being hard on myself right now. My dream self would just make an action plan and move on and stay high vibe. Or maybe it's going to remind you of, oh, right now I am doing something that's my old identity, and maybe I just need to shift that right now and make a new choice, make a new plan. So that is my advice to you, all about making manifestation much more effortless. There may be resistance at first because when you are shifting your identity, when you're shifting who you are, you may find resistance, and it may feel more comfortable to just revert back to your old self and revert back to those old habits. But this is where you can either choose to have a complete breakthrough and become this new self and do all of these new things by pushing yourself towards that new identity and saying, nope, I'm not going back to the old, I'm going into the new. And it's that defining moment where you're going to make the biggest change in your life. It is that moment that you decide to stay committed to that new self, to those new actions, to that new identity, that everything in your life is going to change on a fundamental level, and you are going to manifest so much more effortlessly. But you need to stay consistent with that new self, with shifting that identity through repetition, through consistency, through willpower, determination, and believing in yourself and knowing that you are capable of anything and you got this and you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. So that brings us to the end of this video, all about how to manifest more effortlessly. Thank you so much for being with me here today. I'm sending you all so much love. Again, that meditation is linked down below for any of you that are interested in the meditation for shifting your reality, which also helps you shift your identity. All that information is linked down below. Thank you so much for joining me here today, and I'm sending you so much love, and until next time, bye.